Hi there, it's Dr. Utter. Today is January the 20th, 2014. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I just wanted to start off with a look at the daily silver chart, and as you can see that we have been trading in this range between sort of 20 bucks and 19 bucks for quite some time, a couple of months actually, since that dropped down from 23. And looks like we are sort of pushing at the upper end of that band. That doesn't mean that we can't just pop back right down into the 19s again, or even lower, of course, but it does almost look that we are coming off of that bottom here. And I've seen this pattern many times, and it does look like a bottoming pattern to me. You know, up, down, up, not much down, starting to go up again, and that could mean a breakout above that 2050 level, which probably would mean 21, which probably would mean 22 and above. Of course, we can't predict what the future on this chart is going to be because it is manipulated and because it's not responding to supply and demand. Yes, there are shortages developing in precious metals and shortages happening in precious metals. Not outages, of course, shortages, just limitations in the supply, but that won't affect the chart. The chart can just sit where it is, or it can go down, even though there are almost no silver rounds to be found, no silver bars to be found in a lot of places. It does not really matter. So this can do anything, but yeah, this does look like it has formed kind of a bottoming pattern, and it is not able to break down below 20. You can see the last several days it has tried, and it's just like, nope, I'm going back up again, nope, going back up again. So it does look a little bit stronger than it has in a long time. That's all I'm saying for now, and we'll keep an eye on it, of course. Every so often I like to show the 10-year logarithmic chart for silver. Haven't done that for almost a year, so there it is. That's the last 10 years in silver on a logarithmic time scale. There on the left we started at about $5 10 years ago and got to 50 as we know in 2011, and we are at about 20 bucks right now. Well, it is Monday afternoon, but the Mint has not updated their numbers yet for this week, so I'll check it again tomorrow. But we do already know from last week that they said that they're probably not going to have much for sale this week. There just isn't the silver available to make the coins. So no, I don't think we're going to beat last year's record for January, which was 7.5 million, which could have been even higher if they had had all the silver they needed to do it back then, but didn't. And this year it seems like there's even less silver available for making these Eagle coins, which they are supposed to provide to the public at quantities to meet the demand, but they haven't been able to do so for at least a year and for most of the past 5 years. I did a video a couple nights ago called Evidence. Either the US Mint is corrupt or there's a silver shortage. And someone has pointed out that there could be the possibility that both of those are true, and yeah, that's right. It could be titled "and or there's a silver shortage." I could have said that, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that it got 4,000 views just in 2 days, so that's pretty good for one of my videos. That's not a lot of people. A lot more people should be seeing this information, definitely, but I'm happy with that. I'm happy that that has done well, at least in terms of videos that I put out. And I think part of that was from Brother John F. I think that he mentioned it in one of his videos, but ironically I can't view his videos until they're a week old, so I don't know if that's true or not. But if he's watching, thanks for mentioning my video and yours. I tried to send you a message, but I guess you don't know how to get to your inbox, or you're too busy or whatever. So anyhow, if you're watching this, Brother John F., thanks for linking to my video. And if anyone hasn't seen that one, I'll put the link for it down below. Speaking of views, I'm just now hitting 1.6 million unique video views. What that number keeps track of is all the views on all my videos added all up together. So I have 430 videos now, and they keep track on those videos how many unique views. Each IP address only counts as one view, so if several people in a house or even a college or an organization watch a video, that only counts as one view. But anyhow, they add all those up and that comes to your total views there. So it's now just reaching 1.6, and next time it updates it'll be at 1.6. So just wanted to mention that. I like looking back over time. YouTube doesn't really keep track of your views over time so that you can track it yourself. So I like to throw it out in the video now and again just so I have my own record. And sometimes I look back at my old videos and notice, oh, I was at 1.2 back in, the beginning of 2012 or whatever it happened to be. So just something I like to keep track of. Sunny out in Vancouver today. Looking pretty good. Kind of feels like spring might be around the corner. We've had a really mild winter. has only gotten below the freezing point like once just before Christmas, and it's been really mild, like 8 degrees above since then. So it's like almost tomato planting weather out there. Of course I wouldn't do that, it's way too early to do it, but just, I don't know, it's looking really nice. I love sushi, I really do. There's an article in the Province newspaper, that is Vancouver's big newspaper. I won't put the whole thing on camera, but the title is it safe to eat the sushi? Answers to your questions about Fukushima radiation by Dan Famano. Don't know who he is, but anyway, I'll put a link to it down below if you want to read it. The video didn't really interest me, but the article is what interested me, but I'll just read this caption here. The province looks into all the rumors, rampant internet speculation, and outright fear-mongering surrounding the world's worst nuclear accident in 28 years and gets to the bottom of it all. Okay, that tells me that this is garbage. This is just absolute garbage. You can't get to the bottom of it all in one article. And it's quite evident that the person that wrote the article does not know what they're talking about. I'm sorry to say, but you did not do your research, and then you're pretending to be the expert on this situation. You are not. And just talking about, you know, outright fear-mongering and stuff. Yeah, there is fear-mongering that's going on, but you can't just dismiss this by saying that, you know, it's all fear-mongering and stuff. The article does not get to any facts. The article just basically calls people paranoid conspiracy theorists and says, go ahead and eat the sushi, it's fine. And maybe it is fine, but this, even just this first sentence tells me that it is garbage and you should not take what you read here seriously. And they also say that Fukushima was the world's worst nuclear accident in 28 years. It is the world's worst nuclear accident. It is worse than Chernobyl. It's worse than that 3 Mile Island incident. It's worse than anything that has happened in terms of nuclear accidents. So, you know, just in that one sentence, there's so many things that just, ugh. So you can have a read, but they are just very dismissive of any concerns. And I think that they were basically forced to print this because locally here in Vancouver, there's a lot of concern. It's never been addressed into the media. This is concern that's coming from social media, it's coming from alternative media, that kind of thing. It's not really coming from the mainstream media because we haven't been told anything by the mainstream media. The radiation detectors have been removed so that no one knows how much radiation there is, and the propaganda has been heavy and thick. So, you know, maybe go and have a look if you want to be disgusted by it, but yeah, I'm still eating sushi, and I love sushi, but I'm just sort of cutting back my dosages of it, and I'm trying to find information from alternative sources, and the province is, to me, not an alternative source of information. I will read it to find out what they're telling people, but I absolutely will not be taking it as fact, especially when it doesn't really list any of its sources. It doesn't have any experts consulted in the article. It really just uses a bunch of logical fallacies to try and convince people that there's nothing going on, and don't bother looking any further into it. Just one last thing about the article. It says that the bottom line is you will receive a more substantial dose of radiation during an airplane flight. Now, if you have heard that before and investigated it, that has been totally discredited. That's not true. You will get radiation from flying in a plane, because essentially when you're in a plane, especially going across the ocean, you're at a very high altitude, and the plane is receiving gamma radiation directly from space, which is normally filtered out by the atmosphere before it hits us. And yeah, you do get a little bit of radiation when you're in a plane, but when they say that, they're trying to say that you are not in danger. And, well, any radiation is dangerous. You don't want any radiation. Even a single little bit of radiation is harmful to you. We didn't evolve around radiation, this kind of radiation anyway. This gamma radiation, this stuff, is bad. You don't want any of it at all. And B, the radiation that hits you when you're in a plane hits the skin on your body and bounces off. It does not absorb. When you're eating sushi, if it's contaminated with radiation, you're taking it directly into your digestive system, and then it goes from there into different parts of your body and does not leave, and then it causes cancer. So you do have to take that into consideration. Yeah, you will get a little bit of radiation hitting your body on a flight across the ocean, but when they say that, they're trying to negate radiation and say that it doesn't matter, you know, ooh, you're going to get more on a plane. You're going to get more on a plane, but you're not eating that radiation. Stuff's been happening in regards to Germany and gold the past year. I guess you remember a while back when Germany said, we want our gold back, and the US said, oh, yeah, no probs. Yeah, just give us like 7 years and we'll have part of it back to you. And recently Germany has now said, we're getting out of that gold fixing crap. We want to move into physical and away from paper, and we're not really interested in that gold fixing stuff anymore. If you don't know what gold fixing is, neither do I, really. But it is kind of interesting to sort of take a look at. I'll put a link down below that you can check out and learn more about it if you're interested. But I think the bottom line in here is Germany is saying that the gold market is heavily manipulated, and they're trying to get back into physical gold. So that's interesting to note, because so is China, and so are a lot of countries. The US doesn't seem worried about it. Canada doesn't seem worried about it. Canada's selling off their gold. The US is selling off their gold and manipulating prices lower on the paper prices anyway. So there is definitely something going on between physical and paper, and Germany is definitely a big part of that, so something to look into. Speaking as someone who lives in a country where the nickel and copper content of coins has been taken out and replaced with nothing but steel. This is a nickel, you can't really see it, but the outline anyway. Just steel now in our currency here in Canada. I want to let you know what happens just before they actually make that announcement. They announce that they are considering making that announcement. Well, the US Mint has announced that it is considering making that announcement. So I think it's probably just around the corner, perhaps in the next year or so, and the USA will have different coinage, possibly no more pennies, or possibly different pennies, and possibly, definitely, actually different nickels. They're saying here that they want to save money. Interesting choice of words. They want to save money by taking real metals out of these coins and replacing it with things like steel, which have almost no value whatsoever. You can have, you know, hundreds or thousands of coins and it still has almost no value at all as steel. One thing they talk about, though, is they're worried that the public would not accept the nickels if they were made of copper or perhaps zinc painted with a thin layer of copper on the outside. But for some reason they would accept it if it was nice and shiny like this nickel here, which is made of worthless steel rather than something else that actually has a bit of value. I guess the public would accept a nickel if it was shiny and silvery looking, because that's reminiscent of real money like silver, or even, you know, base money like nickel. But if they painted it copper, then the public would not accept it because they see that copper is something that's supposed to be in pennies, which are only 1 cent. I don't know. But while they talk a lot about how the public would be upset because vending machines would need to be retrofitted or changed slightly to make this change, they don't talk really about the fact that currency is slowly changing over the years, over the decades, and we've gone from currency that was, well, we didn't even have any paper currency or digital currency. We had chunks of gold and silver in coin form, and then that has slowly changed over to base metals like nickel and copper and zinc, and now they're talking about just making it steel, or in fact in Canada that's all we have is steel. They don't really mention that in the article. That doesn't seem to be a consideration, and that is the main thing. It's just a step. It's just one step, but it's the direction of this step and the direction of all the steps that have happened that actually matters. If you go and look back, there is a definite pattern of taking the real money away from the people and replacing it with a trick, replacing it with fiat coinage and fiat notes. This is a much bigger issue than a lot of people understand, and I'm going to put the link to this down below. My dad grew up in the 50s, and I remember as a kid when he would bring me along to, say, the hardware store or whatever, we'd buy some stuff, and at the till he would be, you know, searching for correct change or whatever, and he'd turn to us kids and say, "You got any silver?" And we'd say, "What?" "Change. You got any change?" "Oh, no." You know, that was what they called change back then. And, well, I think you know why that is. Anyhow, that is it for today, other than this little shot of silver coin for you. Talk to you soon.